Welcome to the Saints Happy Hour podcast, featuring Dave Cariello, Andrew Juge, Ralph Malbrough, and when he decides to show up, Kevin Held. We are the perfect blend of Saint sincerity and stupidity.
How many RPMs would it take for the Julio copter to actually fly away, and how many fumbles would happen as a result?
Well, that's a trick question because you can only fumble once.
If you're not having fun when your team is 11-2 and win back-to-back division titles for the first time in 50 years, then you need to stop watching.
And now, here's your host, Ralph Malbrough.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Saints Happy Hour podcast. We are live on a special Sunday night edition because we have commitments on Monday, so we're going a day early. Thanks to everybody who's in the chat room, if anybody is indeed in the chat room at all.
Send out that link. Let me see that link.
So, Dave, before we get to the Saints Vikings game and the recap and all the fun, if people need and have a strong desire to gamble on preseason NFL football, which who doesn't? I mean, we all want to. Where should they go?
Yeah, well, I mean, since Ralph started the show, Ralph gets asked, he gets all sorts of questions about who to bet on and who to bet with. And he doesn't always know who's going to win, but he does know where to go when he wants to bet. And the answer is MyBookie. Between their live in-game betting, endless props, and fantasy sports wagers, there's something for everyone. With the best player perks in the sportsbook business, they've been good to us, and we know they'll be good to you. Right now, they're hooking our listeners up all month. Visit mybookie.ag and use the promo code HAPPY25 when creating your account to claim your 50% bonus. Laying down $100? You've now got $50 in play. That's mybookie.ag, promo code HAPPY25. You play, you win, you get paid. I had a couple of errors there. I'm gonna admit it right there.
Yeah, that's a little slower than you normally read it.
Am I slurring?
If I read
no
it
slurring, just slow.
If I read it like that, people would be giving me standing ovations and wanting to give me Oscars.
Yeah, I know. It's like the Drew Brees Bridgewater debate. It's like
what a perfect segue. Yeah, right. What a perfect segue.
Dave just threw for like 250 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception, you know? Like his quarterback rating was only 98.0 on that one.
Yeah.
We'll get to Bridgewater in a second. But first, Dave, I know in the pre-show you were just gloating like a son of a bitch because your UDFA son, Lil Jordan Humphreys, had himself a ball game.
Lil Jordan. Yeah, he was lighting it up just a little bit on Friday night, right? Am I right?
He was.
A little bit for Lil Jordan. I want to make sure I get all my little puns in there.
Lil Jordan is literally so good, other receivers are quitting the team.
That's right.
Rashard Matthews is like, no, he's just so good. I'm quitting. Like that's how good he looked.
Real quick. I just want to call out all the
that
people.
I'm out of here.
I want to call out all the people that fought with me on Twitter saying that Rashard Matthews was going to catch 50 balls this year for the Saints and that he was going to start. And that this was after like one practice.
Yeah.
Not in pads where he was signed and looked pretty good. And I just want to sometimes this is why when you sign an aging receiver that hasn't been good in a while, maybe wait a couple preseason games before you start, elevating them.
Crazy pills.
Yeah, that was quite a spirited debate about. I mean, people were pumped about him. He looked good in one minicamp practice, and they're like, he's the next.
He had already caught 50 balls.
Well,
already catching 4 passes for 82 yards and a touchdown in the playoffs.
Speaking of spirited debates, I fought with people literally from halftime all the way until I went to bed yesterday on Twitter, and I posted my Channel 4 column, just posted tonight. Teddy Bridgewater is the fucking Saints quarterback post Brees, whether you people like it or not. And Saints Twitter is, Dave, I knew we were spoiled rotten over Drew Brees, having him for 13 years, going in 14. I knew we were spoiled rotten watching quarterbacking. I knew it. But to see it so stark on Friday, where people are like, Bridgewater's not that good. We need to look other way. Like, what the fuck do people want and expect post Brees? Like,
I'm
he had
gonna, I'm
100.
gonna ask. I'm gonna ask an uncomfortable question.
Oh,
But like it's like if he was
no.
white,
Oh,
he was.
I knew you were going to go there.
Well, I mean,
Just living through Aaron Brooks.
It's possible. It's
and
possible.
seeing the hatred that he got, some of it deserved because of the smiling, but I definitely think there were racial undertones, and like I just wonder if like your average Saints fan just wants a good old white boy at quarterback.
I think
upsetting.
that's a component of it. I wonder if Teddy Bridgewater, if his fun personality will either overcome the racial issues that people will have for him, or his happy, fun attitude. People will be like, he's not serious enough. He's
Yeah.
not serious enough.
First of all, he's got a happy and fun attitude, but that's always been off the field, in the locker room, whatever. Like, I haven't seen that on the field. I haven't seen him come off after throwing an interception and laughing or smiling.
He's not
or whatever.
doing what is that bicycle thing that he does? What's that called again? Chopper style.
Yeah.
Chops.
Yeah. I don't think he's doing that. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, that's one thing. I mean,
Not
like
yet.
Well, okay, well, fine, but I don't see him doing that. But I don't, I heard the after show that you guys did real quick, and I mean, I'll go out on a limb. Maybe it's not a limb, I don't know, but I will say, I think under the Sean Payton era, I think that was the best preseason game that a non-Drew Brees quarterback has ever had in the Sean
Not even
Payton era.
close. Not even close. I mean, I would say, hey, Drew Brees in 2009, he burned the Raiders to the ground in the third preseason game. So Drew Brees has had preseason game where he's looked amazing. The one thing I will say with Teddy Bridgewater that I think you could lean to it I'm not sure that it's because he's black or whatever. I do think, Andrew, there's a component of it that fans love newness. They love unused draft picks. They love people that they haven't seen before. They love the mystery crate of intrigue. And Teddy Bridgewater's been around for a while, so he's not, even though he hasn't been around with the Saints, but he's not new.
Ralph, you're making spell.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Didn't you have a quick fix for this?
How are we now, gentlemen? Are we better?
Better.
That's
Yes.
much better. Yes.
So the one thing I was going to say is
Edit that out.
Yeah, edit that part out. Can't do it on the
Write
live
that
stream.
down.
Sorry, guys. The thing that I was going to say is fans like the newness, right? The mystery box, the mystery crate, and even though Bridgewater's new to Saints fans, he has a record in the NFL. I think if the Saints had picked, in a fake world, let's say the Saints had drafted him in the third round last year instead of trading for him. If they had drafted him in the third round last year, and he played like this Friday, I think 90% of the fan base would be euphoric. I think it's not just the racial component, Andrew. I think it's the newness. We love the unknown as fans, and it's just why that is. I can't explain it to you, but fans, they would rather take the unknown than the sure thing that's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Drew Brees catches some heat sometimes from the fans, So I just think no matter what, I think maybe the spotlight is even more quarterback than any other position. I mean, it's just more scrutinized, and it's maybe rightfully so because it's the most important position on the field. But Yeah, I mean, it just goes back to like what do you want out of your quarterback? If you're going to be dissatisfied from anything worse than Drew Brees, which unfortunately I think is what is staring Bridgewater in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one thing I will say is like to replace Brees as the quarterback of the Saints has got to be the most daunting, intimidating, and terrifying job ever. And I don't think any rookie quarterback is going to be up for that really. And so I almost prefer that Bridgewater is kind of next in line for this because I actually think he has the mental makeup to be able to handle it. I think there's all kinds of stress and pressure that comes with succeeding a quarterback like that most young players probably can't handle.
Okay, but here's my problem. My problem is that Drew Brees gets to play as long as he
wants,
and as long as he's performing at a high level. And again, I say this all the time. Tom Brady is a year or 2 years, whatever, older than Drew, and he's still performing at a high level. And Drew had arguably one of his best seasons of his career last year. So there is absolutely no evidence, no proof that he's declining, that he's gonna slow down. So I know as far as his contract is concerned, next year is his last year, and then you've got those voidable years or whatever. But I mean, my thing is you could potentially, Drew could have another great year this year, and then you're not going to get rid of him. You gotta hold on to him. You could still have Drew for another 3 years or so. Who knows?
Well,
and is Teddy going to wait around that long?
I'm going to make the assumption here, and this is a big leap, so I could be wrong, but I think one way.
It better be something good. It's probably like quinoa salad, something healthy.
No. Almonds. Or almonds, as Dave calls them.
At least Dave has the decency when he eats on the podcast. He's smashing a bag of Sour Patch Kids and a Jolt fucking cola.
Jolt. They don't even make that anymore.
I was trying to be stealth, but you guys caught me. But no,
I smell my own.
I'm making the assumption that Brees is going to be done one way or another with the Saints this year, and part of the context clue is.
I think there is only like a 15% chance that happens. I really do.
Really? So you think there's an 85% chance that he plays for the Saints next year?
Yeah, I really, really fucking do. I really do.
Andrew, I wrote the column of Channel 4 today, and my thing was that Bridgewater will be the quarterback if Brees retires and it goes how we want the dream season. The Saints win the Super Bowl and Brees rides off in the sunset. But, Dave, I was thinking it was like 50-50 he would retire. Then I read all the stories of him at 40 with Larry Holder from The Athletic and different things. He wants all the fucking records, man. He wants them all. And the only way to get the records and keep the records is to outlast Brady. So I've swung 180 degrees back to Dave's view. I don't think he's quitting. I don't think he's quitting even if they win, Andrew. I really don't. I think it's like 25%
but
chance.
So how could they have talked Bridgewater into staying? How could Sean Payton in good conscience be like, hey, you got to stay here?
Okay,
if Brees might be playing 3 more.
I'm going to stop you right there. I'm going to stop you right there.
I think the Saints pitch it as Miami's a trash pile. That's the pitch. That was the pitch they made. If they didn't make any guarantees to him, you just say Miami's a trash pile, Teddy. If you go there and you bomb, you'll never be a starter again. Wait 1 year here and see what Drew does. I think that is the pitch they made to him.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think it's settled. I don't think it's settled in Brees' head, but Brees has said, I'm taking it year to year. Yeah. I'm playing every year as if it's my last.
The only thing that means,
those are direct quotes.
The only thing that means is, and going back to what I said earlier and my emphatic statements about Brees, there's one caveat, and that's if the Saints win the Super Bowl this year, he retires. Absolutely. I think if they win the Super Bowl, he retires. Yeah, but anything short of winning the Super Bowl, which definitely includes, which I'm worried about, is some sort of disastrous, dramatic, crazy ending in a very important playoff game. I just see that happening again. Anything short of that,
Okay.
I
So
think
stop
he
right
keeps
there.
playing.
Stop right there. I got a question. So let's say you're correct. Let's say that Breeze. Let's say the Saints don't win the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Breeze still has it in him. You know, it still has that fire. Still wants to play.
Mm-hmm.
And the Saints have an
I don't care about
expiring-
his fire. I don't care about. Let's just be clear. I don't care about his fire or his desire. Peyton Manning had a fire and a desire in the last year of his career, but that doesn't mean anything. I care about how well Drew is slanging the ball.
Well,
No, I got you.
Yeah.
But here's
No,
my
go ahead.
question. Here's my question. You'd have an expiring deal with him and Bridgewater. You're Mickey Loomis. You've gone through 2 miserable negotiations with Tom Condon, which at the end he drew a line in the sand and he said, if you don't take this offer, you can go elsewhere. And Breeze signed the deal, but that's how close it came to Breeze leaving the building. And how much chance I guess my question is,
if you're Mickey, do you think that Drew is really going to go play for another team for 1 year or 2?
Peyton Manning did.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I don't know.
How is that situation any different?
Because we're New Orleans, and we just would like the
that
Indianapolis.
Naive thing you've ever said.
Listen to me. Okay, listen to me. Indianapolis, they're very. They're a little more forgiving, I think, than I think here in New Orleans we will never.
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing.
That would ruin you.
Here's
all of the stuff.
Do you think Drew Brees is going to want $30 million, and Loomis is not going to pay him that?
Here's the thing, though, with Peyton Manning leaving the Colts. The Colts had Andrew Luck waiting in the wings, and Andrew Luck was a can't-miss, once-in-a-generation quarterback prospect. So they had a soft landing. The interesting thing with Drew Brees, I think, where Dave is trying to get at, and it makes it interesting, Andrew, is let's say Brees plays 11 games, he gets hurt, he misses a month. Bridgewater is phenomenal in those 4 weeks, but the Saints don't win the Super Bowl. If you're the Saints and Drew Brees,
well, that's a whole different scenario than what I was saying.
That's the scenario I think where it gets dicey.
In that scenario, you go with Bridgewater.
Ooh,
that scenario you go with Bridgewater. Just the same way that I felt like, I know this is crazy, but I always thought the Eagles should have gone with Foles, and they should have said goodbye to Wentz. I
agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, you got a guy.
I actually think Wentz is the better quarterback.
He is.
But like they got something going with Foles.
Exactly. There's something to be said about chemistry and all that kind of stuff. And so if you're telling me that Bridgewater is going to come in and play phenomenal, and he's going to have that chemistry with the rest of the team, then go with it. Fuck it. That's a different scenario than what I was saying.
It could get very, very complicated, and the thing is, Andrew,
Mickey Loomis is going to do what's best for the Saints. Period. End of story. So like there will be no sentimental Drew send off. I'm sure there will be, but like there's not going to be this like, oh well, we've got to fall on the sword because it's what's right for Drew. It's not going to be like that. If Mickey Loomis thinks he can pay Bridgewater a lot less to be better than Breeze next year, if he believes that he's a better option, like if Bridgewater continues to look good in preseason and kind of lights it up the rest of these 4 games and then doesn't play again, and we get a similar year from Breeze where like he's awesome the first 8 weeks of the season, and then towards the second half of the season, he starts to fall off a little bit and his level's not quite as high, and you've got Teddy Bridgewater sitting there. If Breeze goes into Mickey Loomis' office and he says, "Hey man, I decided I want to keep playing and I want $25 million this year," he's gonna say, I think he would have a hard time deciding on. I think it would be a very tough for Loomis.
Can we get Bridgewater to lose the gloves? Is there any way we can talk about the gloves? Can we have
with you on that? Like, the only thing that bothers me with Bridgewater that just like on a personal level I don't like is the
like they were doing. they were doing the quarterback challenge with Zion and the basketball thing, and so they were all doing the basketball stuff, and they were shooting the 3-pointers or whatever, and then they were transitioning to the football throws or whatever, and they had to like stop tape and edit it so that Teddy could put on his gloves after the basketball stuff, and it's just like, come on, man, like just like
It's gotta be.
is
It's mental, man. It's
this
his
is the
thing,
club.
man. It's like you
Both
gotta.
hands. Why do you even need the glove on the other hand? You're only throwing with you. It makes no sense to me. Why do you need a glove if you're throwing right-handed and you want the glove on your throwing hand because it gives you some sort of advantage in your mind? What's the purpose of the glove in the left hand? I don't
I don't know, man.
understand.
I think
Don't
it's
get it.
like it's like telling somebody that they shouldn't put on a shoe, the right shoe first or the left shoe first, or do you wipe standing up or do you wipe sitting down? I mean, it's just one of those things. It's
That's a
like
good question. That last question.
I just don't understand. Like, if he has to wear those gloves to throw the football, why wasn't he shooting the basketball with gloves? Like, why did he have to
So-
feel the basketball with the skin of his fingers, but the football doesn't work?
we need a 30 for 30 Teddy Two gloves. we do. I'd
I mean,
watch.
I can't believe we might be subjecting ourselves to 8 years of a quarterback throwing with gloves.
I mean, like seriously though, ask yourself this question: can you name any very successful quarterback in the NFL who threw with gloves? Like, is there anybody who was even notable, even memorable?
That might be
threw
the
with gloves?
That might be the strongest argument against Teddy Bridgewater that I've heard in
Can
2
you
days.
can you
And I
can
heard you say
you
it. I
can
heard you
you
say it.
can you
It's
name
never-
anyone bad that wore gloves?
David was it? Who was it? Was
David
David
Carr.
Carr?
Oh,
Was
Carr,
there.
yeah.
Carr was a trash pile. But yeah, that's the best argument against Teddy Bridgewater anyone's made, and I have ridiculous arguments against him in Twitter. Dave came strong.
Came hard.
I
Drive
mean,
into the hole.
it's gonna
Anyway, getting back to Bridgewater's performance, we got severely off track.
was good.
I thought he looked great. I
Yeah.
was very disappointed
Michael
in
Thomas,
general.
Michael Thomas fucked him. Michael Thomas fucked
Yeah.
Bridgewater. Michael Thomas
Yeah,
should have caught
he
that
really
pass.
did.
You know, you and I, Andrew, we talked because I know you were at the game, and you can't see things as well as you can when it's on TV. But
Yeah.
Michael Thomas made a move on that guy in the end zone, and Bridgewater read it right, and he threw it at a spot where only MT was going to be able to get it, and he was right there. He had his hands on it, and he dropped it. That was like a 14-play drive. It would have been a great ending to a great drive. And MT and Thomas blew it, but that was a great throw by Bridgewater. It was a great
Yeah,
throw.
and yeah, it was. And I heard fans complain about how he wasn't taking enough shots downfield and letting it rip. And I thought he did a couple times. I mean, the throw to Cyril Grayson was awesome. And, I think I mean, if you have a problem with a quarterback checking down, then you obviously haven't been watching Drew Brees for the last 15 years.
I just want in the 4th preseason game, I just want Taysom Hill to throw bombs to Grayson every play against Miami.
Yeah.
That's all I want. I just want it's fun. Like Grayson's fun. It's just verts, baby. I love it.
Like I don't think Bridgewater looked like an elite quarterback, but like my grade for him was a B plus. Like I think he had a B plus performance. I think there was
plug
some
the grades,
stuff
by the way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's some stuff he'll want to work on, but yeah, if you there's actually a post that's free, that's a little taste of what you'll get in the regular season. And if you used to read my player grades on Saints Nation, then you know. Anyway, yeah, thanks to all of you who have signed up for it already. It's for $10 a month. You get access to that. And I gotta give a shout out to Tom actually, who gave me a shout out today on Twitter, and I realized that his Twitter picture is him in the podcast shirt, holding the podcast koozie, holding a drink.
He's coming.
So
he's coming for
that's his
Allie to
picture
be
on Twitter. He's
declared
like
super
a super fan. Yeah. I think he's now ahead of like Marin, Monadula, and Allie. Like, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't see you guys with pictures on Twitter of our stuff. I'm just saying.
So, the rest of this game, besides Bridgewater's performance, the thing that we'll get to the bad in a minute because they had some things to worry about maybe. But the one thing that I did give me comfort is Dave Latavius Murray. He didn't look great, but he looked okay. Like he could he put it this way, he's better than any non-Mark Ingram running back the Saints threw out there last year.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was very happy with what I saw from him. He had at least one like screen pass catch out of the backfield, and there was the one play where, man, he hit the hole and it was open, and one of the defenders just kind of grabbed him by the ankle, and if he hadn't done that, I think Murray was gone, and he knew it, and he was pissed afterwards after he got tackled. Um, yeah, I like him. He's a big guy. He's tall. He runs kind of tall. But I thought he looked good. Your boy Ozigbo looked pretty
Yeah,
good.
he did.
I mean, come on. So,
He was-
you're
was
talking about Lil
this
Jordan.
close-
I mean,
he
I
was
know.
this close to scoring, and this whole podcast would have just been me reading love sonnets to him.
Dude, so speaking of Dave, running backs, and his boys, there were a lot of Mark Ingram jerseys in the stadium last night. I was shocked.
Interesting.
I was shocked by how many Mark Ingram jerseys there were. And I was texting with Ralph as I was walking into the stadium, and I'm like, there should be a rule that, like, I don't know. It's one thing if you're playing the Ravens where it's almost like you're trolling him. But, like, I feel like going into the stadium with the Mark Ingram jersey is, like, off limits right now. I don't think you should be allowed to do that. It's like a unwritten rule.
We talked about
I think it's fine. It's my throwback jerseys are fine. Like I saw a Shockey jersey. I mean, those are fine if the player's retired. If the player is active for another team,
that's like a divorce jersey. It's painful.
I don't
Is
think you
Shockey
can do
okay?
that.
Shockey's okay. We're okay with
Shockey's all
Shockey.
right. Here's the
Yeah.
thing with
I
Ingram
miss him.
though.
I do. I kind of miss him.
We talked about it Friday, Dave. I saw him Thursday. They showed shots of Ingram on the sideline. He looked so sad. Like he cannot. He can say whatever he wants. He's not happy being in Baltimore. You know.
Who's he going to talk to? He's got no friends, and it's going to be cold there soon.
I can confirm.
So that was good. That was the good for the Saints. But they had some issues that were concerning. And Andrew, I rewatched the game a little bit, and the thing that struck me, two things. And this is the most
No defense was played.
No,
whatsoever.
the most concerning thing to me.
Steve Spagnuolo-esque, if you will.
Patrick, what if Patrick Robinson is washed? Like Davenport,
He kinda
we'll get
looked
to him
like
in a
it.
second. But if Patrick Robinson
Basically,
is
what if
washed,
Patrick Robinson had one good season, and it was
Yes.
with the Eagles when they won the Super Bowl, and that was the only time ever in his career
He was good. No, he was good. He was real good on the Chargers. Real good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
and
right.
I think he had a decent season with the Colts too. He's been good whenever he hasn't played on the Saints.
Oh great, well that's a good sign. It's a good sign. Really excited about that.
He's the Saints player we'll wish they never brought back. By the way, Andrew, did you manage to get to the Black and Gold store and raid the discount rack? Or did you not?
Not yet. No, but
You don't have five
the discount the discount jerseys are insane. It's like Jarris Bird, Jimmy Graham, Kenny Stills, like they're all $10.
That all sounds
amazing.
wonderful. $50, and you could have really quite the collection.
It's true.
Of Jarris Bird, I would have bought all of them.
I should have.
If I told people in 2 weeks we were giving away a Jarris Bird jersey to somebody when they listen to the live stream, the audience
Probably
would
get $100 in donations.
We'd quadruple the people in the live stream.
Well, I'll buy it. So go ahead and say it now.
So 3 weeks we're giving away a Jarris Bird jersey in the live stream. Be here. But That's a concern. Are you, and Dave, I'll start with you. Are you more concerned about Patrick Robinson or how awful Davenport looked? Because Davenport looked bad.
Did anyone look good on defense? Did
Yeah,
one
I mean,
single guy look good?
Vince Beagle?
who? I'm sorry. Who?
Is Vince Beagle?
Who's your mouth?
Vince Beagle is, yeah, I made this joke on the grades that I wrote up too, is that the only play that the defense made was a fumble recovery where they didn't touch the running back or strip the ball. He just dropped it.
Yeah, dude just randomly just it was like slippery. It was like it was wrapped in butter, apparently. It was like the most bizarre fumble I've ever seen in my life. No, I mean, look, nobody on the defense played good. So I'm not concerned. I mean, I'm not going to be more concerned about Davenport than I'm going to be concerned about anybody else, like Patrick Robinson or anybody else, or Eli Apple or anybody else on the defense.
At least Eli Apple had good coverage.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, on that touchdown, he was all over him.
Yeah.
Or it wound up not
Find
being
the ball,
a touchdown.
Eli. Jesus.
That was very.
Wait a minute.
That was the most Delvin Bro play ever. Perfect coverage where you somehow still give up a huge pass.
Wait, I have a thing. So in the game, they called pass interference on what was it, Butler or whatever?
Webster.
The guy? Webster.
Kayvon Webster. Yeah.
So they called pass interference on Kayvon Webster. Peyton throws the flag that he's the reason that he's even allowed to throw that flag now because of the new rule. And I thought, I don't know about Andrew in the dome. I'm assuming it looked the same as it did to me on TV at home. But I mean, Webster was tracking the ball and looking at the ball the entire time. I thought it was a clear no pass interference. And I thought that upon review, that this was the perfect opportunity for the NFL, for the officials to just a little bit, just to, say, you know what, I think we all know we screwed up, last year with the no call, and they still upheld the call as a pass interference. And I just thought that was just salt on an open wound, and I thought that was totally ridiculous. I thought that was the perfect situation for a turnover of a bad call. I thought the initial call was a bad call, and when you looked at the replay and you look at Webster with his head turned the entire time and looking at the ball, I thought that was a very easy no call, or a very easy turning over of that call, and they still couldn't give it to the Saints.
Well,
I mean, am I wrong? Am I fucking
No,
wrong?
I don't think you're wrong. But the one thing that struck me as interesting, Andrew, and I didn't realize this, but I guess I should have, is Minnesota challenged the Saints play early in the game, and Minnesota had challenged that the Saints had done offensive pass interference, and I didn't realize you could challenge for that. Although I guess I should have. Dude, I think that's could be revolutionary, because all these pick plays that these teams run that referees just miss or whatever, that could be not a game changer, but it could be big play that could swing some games.
That was a terrible challenge, by the way. I mean, Bridgewater got the ball out so fast on that play. I mean, there was no contact. I mean, what they were trying to get him for was blocking ahead on a screen. But I mean, the ball was out of his hands as soon as he snapped it.
Yeah.
So there was no context. So that was a terrible challenge. But you make a good point, which is that, yeah, I think that probably, especially those like pick plays that they never call, like they happen pretty often, especially near the goal line, and that could potentially wipe out touchdowns. And, all scoring plays are reviewable now. So I think now that the pass interference is reviewable, like I think scoring plays might take longer a lot of times on these pick plays that they run near the goal line, because, it's basically you're allowed 1 yard to get in someone's way. And after 1 yard, like if you're at 2 yards, it's a flag. I just think a lot of times refs aren't throwing that flag. And now I think that'll be part of the scoring review process.
I just think it's bullshit, because I'm really concerned about this whole pass interference challenging and that kind of stuff, because if if what we saw Friday night with that call, if that wasn't enough to overturn a pass interference call,
What
I
will
don't.
be? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what will be, and
Totally fair.
and it's just
Well, the thing about pass interference,
is that
it's
pass interference is
50-50.
it's so well, it's so
A lot of them are,
subjective.
a lot
It's
of them are
so
judgment calls.
16
exactly.
pass
And so
interference.
if it
It's
comes
not-
down, if it
not
comes down
talking-
to, if
yeah,
it comes down to, if it comes down to a judgment call of 50-50, like I just don't think a lot of refs are going to change their
They
mind.
had 16
You're
challenges.
not talking about
They had 16 challenges to pass interferences this week in preseason. 14 of them were upheld. So there you go. That's the point you make.
And so maybe the point here is to only change the egregious ones.
I think that's what it's going to be. And I think
Yeah.
I think the one thing that this will always do though is it will always give the referees
the point is wait, let's just clarify what Juge says. I'm sorry for interrupting, Ralph, but let's clarify what Juge says. The point is to clarify the egregious ones being the ones that don't get called, but upon further review
Should have
they
been.
should have been called.
Yeah.
Like
You're
the Tommy Lee Lewis play, yeah.
Exactly. We're not talking about calls that get called and then upon further review maybe because that's going to be harder, and that's the situation that we're talking about with on Friday with the Saints. Like it's going to be way harder to say, oh well, maybe that wasn't a pass interference, but it's going to be a lot easier, like in the no call in the NFC Championship.
Well, it's like
Well,
the
that
Webster
definitely
play
wasn't
is
pass interference.
yeah. Well, the Webster play is a perfect example because I feel like the ref probably watched that and he's like, yeah, like I don't think that was pass interference actually. Like, I probably shouldn't have thrown the flag. But then he's like, but there is a little contact, and so like I think he can justify like, well, there's the contact. There's a little hand touching right there, pass interference.
I think if they're going over that play, and they are going over that play, because I think that's part of the protocol for NFL referees. But I think if and when they're going over that play after the game, I think that they're saying that you could let that go. That's a totally fair play, and even if by the letter of the law it's not a fair play by the rule books, it should be a fair play because I think that was a great NFL. I think that's what the NFL. That was a great freaking play.
I'm gonna go, and you guys will probably laugh at me, but I'm gonna say there will be less than 6 pass interferences that the referees call it pass interference, and upon further review are like, nah, it wasn't. Like I don't think that's gonna happen more than 5 times this year. Like they may look at a play and be like, "Yeah, we missed that. That guy got mugged. It's a penalty." But if they call it, they're not gonna take the flag back and be like, "Nah, it wasn't." Never.
Unless there's no contact whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like if a receiver were to fall down, trip over himself, and like there was no contact.
Maybe.
But like I think this is again. I think this play illustrates it well because there was very little contact, but there was some, and I think we all watched that replay and we're like, "That's not pass interference." But I just don't think the refs are going to overturn the call because they can justify it as pass interference if there's any contact.
I saw an interesting tweet about the Saints wide receiver situation, and I saw Bobby Hebert and Christian Garrick, not to name drop or call out people, they had Emmanuel Butler ahead of Traquan Smith in the pecking order. They had Emmanuel Butler third. They had Michael Thomas.
You know what? First of all, Emmanuel Butler needs to play in a goddamn game before we're going to put him above fucking Traquan Smith. All right?
I'm just saying.
Or Lil Jordan.
But or Lil Jordan, exactly. But I mean, Traquan
No diggity,
Smith
no
did drop a pass. He didn't look so good Friday though, so he dropped the ball. So, I mean, is that a thing where?
I mean, Granderson's in jail, and he should be ahead of everyone on the depth chart after that performance on the field. Just by not playing, he moved up ahead of every defensive end on the roster, not Cam Jordan.
Andrew,
maybe even Davenport.
Your love for your adopted UDFA son is limitless. you are not backing down. You are not walking
Love,
away.
loves,
It
love
is
knows no bounds.
it is love. It is commitment.
See,
It
it's
is
my kid,
commit.
man.
And were you secretly happy that the pass rush looked so bad so that you could praise your child?
I will, dude. On a serious note, like every year in preseason, we always get overly giddy and unrealistically excited about some dude that flashes off the edge or gets a little pocket push in the third or fourth quarter. It happens every year where you've got one of the UDFAs that'll get a sack. There was none of that. Like there wasn't
It's
even
true.
like there was no pass rush, zero.
Remember 2 years ago when they played San Diego and they had 8 sacks and we were losing our fucking minds?
Yeah, like they're gonna trade three of them for
They're-
second round picks.
No, we were just
Yeah.
like, oh my god, they're gonna have a pass rush this year. We were totally convincing ourselves of it, and
Yeah,
it kind of
like they did a good job getting pressure on that when Dennis Allen dialed in that blitz with the Mario Davis, and that was a great blitz. And unfortunately, Cousins escaped, and he was able to get a first down there. But like that was really the only time their quarterbacks felt pressure all game, and I just that was really concerning and disappointing to me because you're without Rankins. And so now, like, you're just asking yourself, like, if Davenport's going to have a bad game, and it's really just Cam Jordan, like, I don't. All of a sudden, like, I don't feel great about losing Alex
I will
Okafor.
I will say this about you, UDFA son Andrew. Granderson has had a better Saints career in jail than Paul Kruger had on the field because at least
For 16
Granderson
games.
Cougar.
because at least Granderson isn't stealing the Saints' money like Kruger did. So I'll give him that. But I mean, the thing is, Andrew, you
Paul
can
Kruger is going to make his uncle visit you in your dreams tonight.
the thing is. I wish I had a soundbite. I wish I had a Elm Street soundbite, but I don't. Uh, the thing is with the Saints is you can fix if their offensive line is deep, but you can go out and get a guard. You can fish around and get a linebacker. They did it with Shanley way back in the day, or what was the one they got from San Francisco? Paris Harrelson. You can go out and get a
Yeah.
linebacker. You can even go out and find a corner off the trash heap sometimes if you and stumble into them and it can be okay. Man, pass rush, there ain't
Wait. You just said they can go get somebody like Scott Shanley or Paris Harrelson. None of that worked out. That
no, but I mean
those were
Scott
terrible
Shanley did.
defenses.
Scott Shanley
No,
started for
Harrelson was all right.
Harrelson was all right. Like you can go out and get like a patch, and it cannot be an utter disaster. At
Yeah,
Yeah, like
all right.
Sterling Moore was an example of
Okay,
he
but
wasn't
patch.
great, but he was
Okay,
okay.
wait. Get a patch. Scott Shanley was the starting weak side linebacker for like 4 years.
That's what I'm
God,
saying.
He wasn't a patch. He was
But-
the starting.
Well, that was just because the Saints were incompetent at finding it. He was like, "What's that stuff that you?"
Right.
What's that stuff that they said? He was like Flex Seal, man. He was like Flex Seal. You spray it at the bottom of the boat, and they couldn't afford anything better, so they just hoped that it worked out and the boat didn't sink, and it kind of worked out okay. But my point is, you can do that at a bunch of positions, Dave. You cannot do that at pass rush. Like either the Saints pass rush is either going to get good with the people they have, or it's going to stink, and there's no fixing it. You're not going to trade for a guy. You're not going to find a guy off the scrap heap. Like the pass rush,
Yeah.
it's got to get better with the guys they have.
We're gonna have to hope that Cam Jordan just makes everybody around him better, which he usually does. But my main thing is I also don't want to this is one of those games where you just throw it out. Like it was so bad defensively that you just have to say, you know what, like everyone was terrible. The Saints have a lot to work on, and Dennis Allen needs to be pulling overtime, and all these players need to be paying attention in the film room, and they need to come out next week and play with more urgency and intensity because
Here's a question.
that was pathetic.
Andrew Platt asked, Granderson got $60,000 bonus to play for the Saints in jail. Here's a question for you, Andrew. If I offered you $60,000, but you had to
I'm in
stay,
the-
but
I'm
you had
in
to
the
stay
wrong
in
line of
jail
work,
for
by the
2
way.
months, would you do it?
No.
No, Dave, $60,000, but you have to be in jail for 2 months.
Let me ask you a question. Is the 60 grand, do I get taxed on that after? Or do I
No,
get to get,
it's a
or do I get
it's a
that
it's
free
a
and clear?
garbage bag of 20s.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I could do that. I could do that standing on my head.
Where, you get conjugal visits?
Do you get conjugal visits? That's a good question. I wasn't even, I don't even care about the conjugal visits. I'm still doing it anyway. But tell me, do I get conjugal visits? Because that just makes it even easier.
Yeah, you probably do. I'll give you conjugal visits.
Well, even better. Awesome.
But if you but well,
Can
no,
I
you get
can,
conjugal visits.
can I stay for 3 months?
You get conjugal visits, but they take out the FICA taxes out of the 60K.
Oh no, fuck that. No. No, don't. No taxes.
I don't know. I also think Curtis Granderson in jail probably can take care of himself a little better than Dave Cariello. I'm just saying.
Maybe, I don't know. Dave grew up in the mean streets of
Hempstead, New York.
yeah. I
Seriously,
mean, do you know? I mean,
that's a tough neighborhood now.
Dave's in the college uh, campus swag business. That's like the hard streets, man. They don't fool around, right? I mean, it's like mobbed up, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
right.
yeah. Dave's gonna get conjugated. That's from Tom Stewart. Um,
Can you? Is that a word? Can you use it in that manner? Conjugated?
I don't know, but I liked it. So, Dave, before we continue with people in the chat rooms with questions and opinions,
I can
tell,
confirm that conjugated is a word.
tell Dave, tell the people if they want to buy tickets to the Saints' next preseason home game, how they should do it.
Well, I'd like to take a minute to introduce our newest friends from SeatGeek. Let them take the confusion out of your ticket buying experience. Instead of shopping dozens of sites to find the best deal, let SeatGeek do the work for you. Their app scans the web for the best deals to your favorite game, concert, or show and rates them on a scale of 0 to 10 to let you know if you are getting the best bang for your buck. A green dot marks great deals, a yellow dot is good deals, and a red dot means not so good deals. Use promo code ACAA at checkout to receive $20 off your first purchase. That's 2 free beers at the stadium on them. So what are you waiting for? That's promo code ACAA for $20 off the first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets.
I feel like Dave is hammered out of his mind and he's looking at his cell phone reading the ads and it's blurry and it's shaking. And in spite of that, he's still better than me. I hate you.
I can't even tell you how fucking dead on balls accurate you are about that whole situation right there. I mean, you were like fucking Nostradamus.
Is that a technical term?
Yeah, it's dead on. Imagine you're a deer, okay, and you see a creek, and you put your little deer lips to the creek, and bam,
Deer
a
blue
fucking
water.
bullet hits you right between the eyes. Now I ask you, do you give a shit what kind of fucking pants the guy who shot you was wearing?
That's pretty good.
It is.
The two Utes.
The two youths.
My wife is. I mean,
We're so old. I wonder how many people in the chat room got that. But here's a question for you.
who for
If
who?
well, for both of you, but I'll start with you,
Yeah.
Dave. If the Saints are going to make a sort of panic, oh my God, they did what? That's kind of interesting. And me and Andrew have to do a podcast and play this. Play this during the week
I know
because
what it is. I know what it is. They would trade for Antonio Brown's helmet. That's what it is. That's what it is. I got it.
Wait, so they're making a deal with the Steelers then?
Yes. Yeah. They got his helmet, and they're going to use that to entice Antonio Brown to come to New Orleans.
I want to say
Play
I was
alongside
totally 100% on the trade for Antonio Brown for the Saints because I wanted the fucking circus to come to the Saints, and I I was
And now
proven
you realize
correct.
he's seriously bipolar. He
He's
may be
crazy.
literally be bipolar.
But he got his feet. He got frostbite in a what is it? Cryotherapy
Oh yeah,
chamber.
yeah. Well, this is good. This is
Andrew,
good too.
Andrew, you have back issues, and you care about your physical fitness and appearance, unlike the rest of us on this show. So you know what that involves. Explain to the people how the fuck you get frostbitten on your feet in cryotherapy. Like, what has to happen?
Well, you can only be in it for 3 minutes. So yeah, but like the thing about
And he was in
cryotherapy,
there for 4.
yeah, but the thing about cryotherapy, it's like the oldest like everyone knows you cover your extremities when you go in there. Like you wear
I
socks and
don't.
you wear gloves.
I didn't know that, but also I don't go to cryotherapy,
Well,
so it's.
I'm sorry. Let me rephrase. Everyone that does cryotherapy
So what does it
knows
do?
that
What's the point? What's the theory
you
behind it?
go in a chamber and it's like sub-zero temperatures, like it's like negative 100 degrees or whatever, and you basically all the heat in your body goes to your core, like to just preserve your organs, and so the rest of your body. I mean, it's like doing an ice bath, but you do it. It's like speeds up the process, and it's just cold air that's being shot on you. It's like hydrogen or nitrogen or whatever, but like it's cold air, but like it's not that uncomfortable because it's only for 3 minutes. So like, like if you've ever tried an ice bath, like it's horrible, like it's miserable and it stings your skin. And like cryotherapy is a lot more comfortable, and you just do it for 3 minutes and you're out of there. And the benefits are supposed to be the same as doing like 20 minutes in an ice bath. So most teams have a chamber, I think, in their facilities. I think the Saints do, but yeah, I mean, like apparently he fell asleep in there or something. But like it's just
John
mind
Gruden
blowing to
said it
me.
wasn't his fault. John Gruden was like, it's not his fault. People are making
Yeah,
fun of him, giving him
he,
problems, but it's not his fault.
he's an idiot.
His feet look like he tried to cook them. Like
Yes,
they were
they look
they
nasty.
were
It's
they
going to
were
be a good episode of
Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks on
Hard
Tuesday
Knocks
for sure.
with the Hard Knocks and the Raiders is fucking
I
amazing.
did enjoy
Can't wait.
I did
Can't
enjoy
wait.
the head, shoulders, knees, and toes jokes on Twitter though. That was because head for helmet and toes. Anyway,
But yeah. So, but that aside, do you if I said to you the Saints are going to make a move at a certain position, either via trade or signing another washed-up vet,
I just don't think it's going to
be?
be. I don't think it would be a pass rusher just because.
Do you think it would be receiver or where?
Well, teams don't give up pass rushers.
No.
Like you're not going to find one. Like it's not like I don't know. The Bears are going to be like, oh yeah, give us a first, we'll give you Khalil Mack. Like that's not going to happen. So yeah, honestly, if I had to guess the position that the Saints would try to upgrade at some point, it would be linebacker, just because I think like you can actually get linebackers because most teams like only really play 2 these days. So there's probably some pretty good linebackers out there that'll get cut. And I just think the linebacker depth is clearly awful. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I missed Manti Te'o. I thought the linebacker play for the Saints was abysmal in that game. The backups were even worse than the starters. But
Andrew had like a 5-text string of sent to me on Friday about how much he misses Manti Te'o. I am not lying. And when Andrew says he misses Manti Te'o, he's not just saying it in passing. Like he put a lot of thought into it, and he is deeply concerned. But Andrew, I would say to you, Manti Te'o hasn't signed with anybody, so he's kind of quasi still on the Saints.
Well, he might be back at this point. Seriously, like that.
Yeah,
it was so bad.
He's like 10 seconds away from getting signed.
Yeah.
If Manti Te'o signs tomorrow morning, Andrew, I will just play the Hallelujah chorus to open the breaking news podcast. I won't even do breaking news. It'll just be Hallelujah.
So I don't think like they'll trade for a big name, but like I could see them giving up a 7th round pick and just being like, all right, we've got Craig Robertson, who's like our special teams linebacker, and maybe he can play in a pinch. But we don't really have a second backup that we trust. And man, they can't. And, I think earlier in the season I may have said offensive line or receiver are positions where they can't afford an injury. Man, it's linebacker for me right now. Like if something happens to Anzalone or to Mario Davis, they're in huge trouble. Ralph, did you mute yourself?
I think he might have. I think he might have. While
What
we
is
all
that?
wait for him. Yeah,
They-
you muted yourself.
Yeah. Repeat that, Andrew.
Yeah.
Weird
No,
tonight.
we
We're
all
going
heard it. We all heard it. You didn't hear it. We all heard it.
No. So, no, I think that's true with the linebacker situation, but geez, I just have to wonder, like, are they are they are they satisfied with what they have at receiver? I just look at it and I'm like, because man, if something
Wait,
happened,
wait. Are they satisfied with what they have at receiver? Did you see Lil Jordan? Did you see
I did.
Did you see my little man, Lil Jordan?
Over under 65 catches for Lil Jordan.
Uh oh, over 65. I'm thinking 90 catches, 1,300 yards.
Oh, I was gonna say 91 catches, so I guess you're picking the under, huh, Dave?
Well, no, he said the under was 65, so I'm thinking over.
Well, I mean, as we go into this, as we go into the next preseason game, is there anybody that you look at the roster, Andrew, that you're like, this person better start rocking it now?
Oh, I have one.
Go ahead then. You go first, Dave.
Don't say
Well-
Davenport because that's my answer, and he.
No,
asked
I'm
me.
not. No, I'm not going to say Devin. I'm going to say the same person that Ralph was going to say last week, and I stole it. Traquan Smith. I mean, seriously, like the dude's got to. I would really love to see him step up and do something and flash a little something, because he's supposed to be the one that's supposed to do it. And so if he doesn't do it, then I would really like to see, more from my boy Lil Jordan. Like I'd like to see some consistency, something where we can say, okay, he's not just a flash in the pan. He didn't just have this. He had 2 catches, I think, on Friday, but he's not just these 2 catches on Friday. He's more than that. He can do something more than that. Either that or Emmanuel Butler needs to get his ass in the game and he needs to be playing, and he needs to show us what he in a game what he's been doing in practice.
But if the Saints keep 5 receivers right now, who are the 5 you're keeping, Dave?
I mean, here's the problem. I'm going to name these people, and I'm not going to be excited about these 5 people. I mean, I'm just not
All
confident.
right, well, let's talk about that.
But I mean, obviously MT and
Ginn.
Yeah, Ginn.
Mhm.
And then after that, it's who's after that?
You got Kirkwood, you got Traquan. Are they both making the team?
I don't. These are all. I mean, Jesus. I mean, these are. I mean, honestly, I feel like Kirkwood has proven more. As far as if we're talking about late last season, Kirkwood really came on late last season, and in the playoffs. So honestly, I think Kirkwood is ahead of, could potentially be ahead of Traquan at this point. So yeah, so those are your 3 and 4 guys, and that's not. I don't feel good about that.
Yeah,
Dave,
and then after that, you got
Not
Little
after
Jordan, you
what
got
we s-
Emmanuel
Yeah.
Butler, you got Austin Carr.
Yeah,
none,
so,
none of
I mean,
those are
wide open. I mean, so
Wide open.
if Lil Jordan has another good game or puts together a couple of nice catches or does something spectacular like he did on Friday, I mean, I don't know how you don't put him number 3.
The interesting thing that I also saw, Andrew, and I know this is going to make a lot of people mad in the chat room and maybe on Twitter, is Taysom Hill. I love him, but I didn't see anything better from him throwing the ball. And it's not that I don't think the Saints they'll still do awesome and fun stuff with him, but like he's still trash throwing the ball. And like I don't see them
Ralph,
running.
how did you when you watched the game? What station was it on, or whatever? Who were the do you get Stinchcomb and Vilma?
I got Stinchcomb, and I got
Vilma.
Jonathan Vilma. By
Yeah,
the way,
yeah.
Jonathan Vilma was amazing.
So that's what I was gonna say. So one of the interesting things and so Andrew probably, unless he watched the replay of the game,
I did.
Yeah, okay. So he might have heard this also, but I mean, like, Vilma was talking about Taysom, and he referred to him as a half-field quarterback, and he was kind of calling him out in a way, really, saying, he's a guy, he only looks one direction, he'll look to the right or whatever, and if he doesn't see anybody toward the right, he never really looks to the left side of the field, and he just kind of tucks and runs. And I mean, it's great because Taysom is great at tucking and running, and he's great at finding the holes and finding the openings. But I mean, just from if I mean, Jesus Christ, if you're looking at everything through the Drew Brees window, and you've got a problem with Teddy Bridgewater because Teddy Bridgewater isn't Drew Brees, well, then you've got a real problem with Taysom Hill as far as a in the pocket, stand up, throwing the ball quarterback. He's never going to be like that.
You make a great point, Dave. I totally agree with you. Yeah. But I think the uneducated fan will still like Taysom because he does something better than Brees can.
I like the running. So, I like the running, and it was effective. And but it's just, I don't know if that's the long term.
It's not. It's not
we've
sustainable.
Seen this happen with Griffin, and
you're not going to last 8 weeks. You're not going to last 6 weeks playing like that.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, it's not sustainable.
Well,
you can't invest money in a quarterback that plays like that.
Well, that's true. But my question to you guys is, do you think it will decrease the fun factor for Sean Payton? That's my only concern. If Taysom plays, if he has to play meaningful snaps at quarterback, just hook up an IV of bourbon and I need cocaine to get me through. But does it decrease the playbook of fun?
Taysom has a shitload of talent and natural ability and raw ability, and he can. It's not that he's can't throw a fucking dime, but he's just not going to be consistent about it. And so it's totally possible you could throw Taysom in there at any point in the game. And I mean, if it's not a running play or a keep play where he's running the ball or whatever, and if it's a play where he's actually supposed to be throwing it, maybe it's 50-50, but I mean, he has the ability to throw a really great pass, but he also has the ability to, and like we saw on Friday, there was that one thing on a bootleg or whatever, trying to throw to somebody in the flat who was wide open. I forget who it was, and he just
missed him by a country mile.
Yeah, and it was just a total basic. There was no reason for him to not be able to throw that pass and hit him. And that's what you get with Taysom. You're not guaranteed to get that throw, but he has the ability to do it. But just the consistency is I don't know. You can't trust him.
I like Taysom. I'm glad he's on the team, but yeah, I go back to what Dave said. If you have a problem with Bridgewater, then it makes no sense that you would talk up.
Yeah, if you're talking, going back to the top of the show, to the very first thing we talked about, if you have a problem with Bridgewater and you don't have a problem with Taysom, yeah, you might be a racist.
Sounds like it'd be like a good Saturday Night Live skit, like ESPN's "You Might Be a Racist."
Going back to your original question, Ralph, of who needs to step up, for me, it's Davenport, unquestionably. He looked like garbage in that game. I'm willing to overlook it because, again, everyone on defense looked like garbage. But, but he's definitely my answer. I don't know what it is about Sean Payton in preseason games, but the Saints, that's another reason why I'm kind of willing to write this off a little bit. The Saints kind of always look awful in preseason.
They do. Yeah. And I mean, really, the only time that they've looked really good in preseason, you can argue, is they looked really, really good in 2009. And the defense looked really, really good in 2017. The rest of the time, they've kind of looked a mess, including Drew Brees in 2006, where he looked like a fucking disaster in August of '06. So that's a fair point, and it's like you say, Andrew. Did they have anybody get injured? No, it was a success, and you know.
Yeah, totally.
So this has been the our special Sunday night edition. Thanks to everybody in the chat room.
Thanks for humoring me tonight, since I was going to be busy tomorrow. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no, we gotta have. Well, the thing is, we gotta have 3 of us for the podcast to really go, and it's awesome when we get all 4 and Kevin can deem us worthy to join in. But we gotta have 3. If we're missing it's like Voltron, you gotta have all the parts. But if we don't have at least 3 of
My
us,
son is really into Voltron, so he would really appreciate
it just doesn't quite go, and it doesn't have the same juice if we don't have at least 3 of us. So when you said, hey, I gotta go, can we go on Sunday? I was like, yeah, we can go, because we gotta have at least 3 of us. So that wraps up today's show. Hey, everybody, if you're in the chat room and you're listening for free, pay $7. You get a koozie, you get a magnet, you get access to the daily podcast. It's amazing. When Saints have breaking news, our podcast is going to be fucking first on it. Subscribe and pay $7. If you pay $10, you get all that cool stuff I just mentioned, and you get Andrew's grades. So you should do it. Subscribe. It's awesome. And we're $150 away to where we get $1,000 a month in support from you guys. Me and Andrew are doing a Friday gambling, drinking, fantasy football show live stream every Friday during the football season. So become a patron. Help us get there. It's awesome. We love you guys. So for Dave, for Andrew, for Kevin, who's MIA, until next week, the bar is closed.